When biologists want to talk about the life on a global scale, they use the term biosphere. The biosphere consists of all life on Earth and all parts of the Earth in which life exists. Biosphere extends from about 8 kilometers above Earth's surface to as far as 11 kilometers below the surface of the Earth. Organisms in the biosphere interact with each other and with their surroundings. This is called ecology. Interactions between the biosphere produce a web of interdependence between organisms and the environment in which they live. Ecological studies may focus on levels of organization that include species, population, community, ecosystems, and the biome. Ecologists use the word environment to refer to all conditions or factors surrounding an organism. Biotic factors is any living part of the environment with which an organism might interact, including animals, plants, mushrooms, and bacteria. An abiotic factor is any non-living part of the environment, such as sunlight, heat, precipitation, humidity, wind or water currents, soil type, and so on. The difference between biotic and abiotic factors may seem to be clear and simple, but many physical factors can be strongly influenced by the activities of organisms.
Primary producers are the first producers of energy-rich compounds that are later used by other organisms. Organisms that rely on other organisms for energy and nutrients are called consumers.
Energy flow in ecosystems. Food chains. You can think of energy as passing through an ecosystem along a food chain. A food chain is a series of steps in which organisms transfer energy by eating and being eaten. Food webs. In most ecosystems, feeding relationships are much more complicated than the relationships described in a single simple chain. One reason for this is that many animals eat more than one kind of food. Trophic levels in ecological pyramids. Each step in the food chain or food web is called a trophic level. Primary producers always make up their first trophic level. Various consumers occupy every other level. One way to illustrate the trophic levels in an ecosystem is with an ecological pyramid. Ecological pyramids show the relative amount of energy or matter within each trophic level in a given food chain or food web. There are three different types of ecological pyramids: pyramids of energy, pyramids of biomass, and pyramids of numbers. Pyramids of energy show the relative amount of energy available at each trophic level of a food chain or food web. A pyramid of biomass illustrates the relative amount of living organic matter available at each trophic level in an ecosystem. And a pyramid of numbers shows the relative number of individual organisms at each trophic level in an ecosystem.
Recycling in the biosphere. Matter moves through the biosphere differently than the way in which energy moves. Solar and chemical energy are captured by primary producers, then pass in the one-way fashion from one trophic level to the next. Elements pass from one organism to another and among parts of the biosphere to closed loops. They are called biogeochemical cycles, which are powered by the flow of energy. There are many ways in which processes involved in biogeochemical cycles can be classified. Here, we will use the following. Biological processes. Any and all activities performed by living organisms like breeding, burning food, and eliminating waste products. Geological processes, like volcanic eruptions, formation of rock, and major movements within and below the surface. Chemical and physical processes, the formation of clouds and precipitation, as well as the flow of running water, also in storms, lightning, for example. Human activity, mining, burning of fossil fuels, clearing of land, building, farming, etc. The water cycle. Water continuously moves between the oceans, the atmosphere, and land, sometimes outside living organisms and sometimes inside them. The water cycle consists of four major steps: evaporation, transpiration, precipitation, and runoff.
The chemical substances that an organism needs to sustain life are called nutrients. Every organism needs nutrients to build tissues and carry out life functions. Like water, nutrients pass through organisms and the environment through biochemical cycles. These three pathways or cycles that move carbon, nitrogen, and phosphorus through the biosphere are especially critical for life. Plants use carbon dioxide and sunlight to make their own food and grow. The carbon becomes part of a plant. Plants that die may turn into fossil fuels made of carbon like coal and oil over millions of years. When humans burn fossil fuels, most of the carbon quickly enters to the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. Most plants get the nitrogen they need from soil. Many farmers use fertilizers to add nitrogen to the soil to help plants grow larger and faster. Both nitrogen fertilizers and forest fires add huge amounts of nitrogen into the soil and nearby lakes and rivers. Water full of nitrogen causes plants and algae to grow very fast and then die all at once where there are too many for the environment to support. Phosphorus is a chemical element found on Earth in numerous compound forms, such as the phosphate ion, located in water, soil, and sediments. The quantities of phosphorus in soil are generally small, and this is often the limits of plant growth. That is why people often apply phosphate fertilizers on farmland. Animals absorb phosphates by eating plants or plant-eating animals.